Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We are getting some more bullets down the freaking barrel of the 22 Creedmoor. So we are getting some reloads done for it. Yet again, like I said, I'm not really starting load development, but I'm just kind of doing some random test loads and seeing what velocities I get out of what. And you know, knowing that it will end up speeding up. And also just listen to some Bruins and Penguins. Love sitting out here reloading and listening to Bruins hockey, Patriots as well, and I don't mind Red Sox too. I've been getting into baseball a lot more, but I hated baseball for the longest time. But I'm getting into it a little bit more, or quite a bit more actually. Also, I'll be doing a full in-depth reloading of the 22 Creedmoor very soon, once I'm starting load development. But for right now, I'm just trying to make it as quick as possible. So, our brass is fully sized. The mandrel is run through it. And all we need left, and the primer pocket is cleaned. Chamfered and deburred. So clean primer pocket, chamfered deburred mouth, nice mandrel run through the neck, and fully sized. So the only thing we got left is put a primer in it, powder, and bullet. Now one thing I did do was, obviously I took the dimensions of the brass, new. That's one thing I recommend you guys do. Any new reloader watching, you guys, any new reloader, watching, you guys get a big notebook. One thing I'm gonna eventually do, I'm gonna buy like a pack of 10 of these. That way I can do one book per cartridge. Because right now this book is just a mix of a ton of different cartridges, which I don't like really. I got them labeled, with little whatever tabs, but pretty soon I'm gonna get a notebook for each caliber I do, and that way it's good to go. So I recommend any new reloader to get a big notebook and take, every time you start a new caliber, start documenting. And I mean everything. Well, not everything, but a lot of things. So what I do, when I start a brand new caliber, I get new brass, obviously. You always want to start a new caliber with new brass, whatever it is. It could be Winchester brass, don't matter. The only thing is the cheaper brass you buy, just the more work you have to do to it. So one thing I do is I take full dimensions of new brass, and then obviously fire form it, take dimensions after the first and second firing. Because sometimes brass isn't fully fire formed after the first firing. Sometimes it takes 3, but I cut it off at 2. After the second firing, they're pretty much usually to their max, max capacity. If all of them aren't, then there's only a couple in there that probably aren't. So with new brass, I take a overall length measurement, which that one don't really matter because you're going to be trimming it later or whatever. But the ones that really matter is take a headspace dimension with your headspace gauge. So take a headspace dimension, and then I also take a dimension of the web of the case, and I take a dimension just below the neck, and I take a dimension of the actual neck. I do that to new brass, and then I fire form it once and take all those dimensions again. And the reason why I do length is just to see how much it grows each time. Now, after the first firing, I trim it to trim length. And then I fire form it again. After the first firing, I take all the dimensions again, headspace. I'll take the length number, but then I'll trim it. I'll take the web again measurement. I'll take the below the shoulder measurement. Then I'll fire a second time. Then I got... Oh. 5-3 Bruins, yeah. Alright, so that way you have two documented, because brass isn't fully fire formed after once. So that way you have two documentations on how long it grows. So like this time, I took all the measurements of new brass, I just fired it, I took the measurements of the length again, and I trimmed it back to trim length, which trim length on Creedmoor is 1.910. And now when I fire it again, I'll see how much it grew again in length, and just write that number down. But I'll also document, what it grew and what I trimmed it to, so that way I don't, look back later and be like, oh wow, it, shrunk somehow, or you know what I mean. So I recommend doing that to every new cartridge. That way you got that way a year down the road you don't look at brass, because like right now my 6.5 Creedmoor, I'm not shooting it, and all the brass is sitting in a bucket, in a box, an MTM case, and I'm gonna come back to that and not quite really know where I am, what firing, what step, all of that. So I recommend taking full documentation. That way, if I go back to my 6.5 Creedmoor and oh, the web is such and such, is that correct? It seems a little weird maybe, or I can go back and look and be like, oh wow, that is weird, or no, that's correct. So I recommend taking at least those 5 dimensions of a new case, once fired case, and 2 times fired case. And from there on, the other thing I do is right off the bat, once I have a modified case, a once fired case, and then modify it, I take all of my bullets and run it through the chamber and do a bullet to jam measurement, just so I know what my Burger, ELDM, SMK, Hornady, just to know what all of them are at jam at brand new barrel. Now that OAL is gonna change eventually, and you may have to change the OAL a little bit to keep your load shooting good. But other than that, it's good to know your jam number right from the get-go on all your bullets. That way you know what to load them to. Because if you don't, then you're just kind of reloading blind. Alright, so next, let's get some primers in. After that will be powder and bullets. Alright, let's get to the next step. We're going to prime these now. One thing I'm going to change is I'm going to change the way I weigh. So I'm going to use the Frankfurt Arsenal IntelliDropper, but I'm going to go to the beam scale this time. Because I want to make sure, as you guys know, the last time we just shot the Creedmoor, the Superformance was all over the place. Velocity-wise, SD-wise, our last 2 loads ended up being okay. Like an SD of 18 or something, and ES of like 20, or I can't remember what it was, but it was still bad. It was our best 2 loads, but the last 2 loads were still bad, but better. I'm going to change up one thing. It's what I'm contributing to is either the Frankfurt Arsenal IntelliDropper just wasn't quite liking that ball powder, or it's the cheap Remington old primers. Now, I think it might be the primers, but I'm not sure. So I don't want to change both up at the same time. So I'm going to just weigh everything through my beam scale, through both scales, keep the same Remington primer, and then next time around, I'm going to change the primer up to a better primer. Just to rule out if it's the Superformance or not. Because if it's just Superformance, because I have heard that Superformance kind of isn't stellar on SDs, but I'd like to know for myself. So, let's get these primed. As you guys know, I've been testing out the RCBS. Oh, Bruin 6. Empty netter from Pasternak. Nice. Pasternak is a freaking beast. That guy's amazing. So yeah, I've been trying out hand priming for a while. As you guys know, I like priming on the press, but I've never hand primed, so I don't really know, how good it is. So I'm testing out the RCBS primer for a while, just to give it a test and see how I like it. The loads for today, I haven't quite made up my mind. I either want to start at the lower end, because remember we started about middle. Let's see here. We started at 39 grains, so I can either go up higher or lower. I'll probably go a little higher because we ended at, I think our average FPS on our last loads was 3140 something. Let me double check here. Let's see here. Yeah, so we ended it with a 3,154 feet per second average. And the Hodgson manual rates Superformance on a 77 grain bullet at 3,100 at the lowest, which is 38.3 grains, and 3,320 at 41.7, which is insane. That's one reason why I wanted this cartridge, 22 Creedmoor. It is a screamer. And it's not a barrel burner either, is what I've heard. Obviously it ain't like 308 quality, like, it won't last 5,000 rounds like 308, but it's not as bad as like 6mm Creedmoor. I heard you can get about close to 3,000 rounds, 2,500, 3,000. So similar to 6.5 Creedmoor as well. 6.5 is around like 3,500. 22 Creedmoor is like 25 to 3, is what I heard. Now we'll find out. So I still have plenty of room to go up. We ended off at 40.2, so I can bring it up to, what was the ending one, 41.7? Yes, 41.7. So I'll probably explore the top end there. As you guys know, my last group in the last session we did started falling apart at 40.2. But that doesn't mean if we go up more, it won't straighten back out again. So that's probably what we'll do. We'll start off at 40.2, or we'll go 2/10 up from that. So 40.4 is where we'll start and go 2/10 up from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 round group. I don't know if that's enough room to do that or not. Here, I'm going to check. But either way, let's get these primed. This primer so far, this is probably the 4th time using it. I like it so far, quite a bit actually. I am a massive, prime on the press kind of guy, but so far, this thing has been nice. So basically, I like this, RCBS one, because it's a universal, you don't need any shell holders. It's just universal. It accepts anywhere from 17 caliber, .17 to, I think, 338. So, which is really nice. So let's get a couple of these primed here. I'm going to go through, prime all these. Basically just primer sits there on the bottom, it falls down through. Snap your case in there and give it a squeeze. And keep this away from your face, because if it ever goes off, it's going to travel right up that damn bullet. Now, I've never set off a primer in one of these, or even in the press, or anything like that. But alright guys, I will bring you back for powder. Alright guys, so I figured out the loads. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do 3/10 starting at 40.5. We ended off at 40.2, so we're going to start up from there, 3/10 more. So 40.5, 40.8, 41.2, 41.5, and now the last load is going to be 1/10 above max on Hodgdon's. We may have to pull some bullets. I don't know. The way the velocities was, I don't think we will, because we weren't even quite matching Hodgdon's manual, and they had a 24-inch barrel. I have a 25, so you know that's going to be a little bit difference, but not too far off. But so I'm at 41.8, and their max load is 41.7. We may start seeing pressure signs towards the end. I'm not sure. If we do, then we'll stop and pull some bullets. No big deal. That's another thing you got to realize too for any new reloaders. Like, if you're picking up a new caliber like this, and that's one thing I've run into, because this is the first time I'm dealing with you know, brand new, just made caliber. You know, you have to scrounge for resources for load data, but not even that. Not only that, like, some of the load data is just not iffy, but just different. You know, it's not like if you were loading for 308, that stuff's rock solid because they've been testing 308 for a lot of years. So yeah, that's all. You just gotta. Everything's not optimized yet, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, and our 3 fowler is just going to be our starting load from the last time, just 39 grains. Keep it nice and light. These are the second firing on these, so I shouldn't quite go as high as I'm doing it, but yeah, I mean, I'm not exceeding max by much. It's just 1/10, so I'm not too worried about it. And if I start seeing pressures, like I said, I'm gonna stop. You guys know anyways, I play it safe here anyways. I'm looking to have fun, not looking to, you know, push it to its limit, and this freaking cartridge is already super fast. I can't imagine shooting some 55 grains in this caliber. I can't wait for that. I mean, I'm pushing the 77s at, you know, 31, and they can get up to 33, 35, and Horizon Firearms, they said you can push an 80 above 3,000, so that's screaming for a heavy bullet like that. I already primed the Frankfurt Arsenal IntelliDropper. I calibrated it to this powder. I actually haven't calibrated the scale yet, so let me do that real quick. There we go. Alright, let's get the pan back on there. Change it from gram to grain. Not going to make that mistake again. Alright, let me set... oh, shit. I wrote down 3 fowlers and we don't have 3 anymore. I only have 1 fowler now because I messed up one modified case, so I had to do another one. So 1 fowler is fine anyways. I've done 1 fowler many times, you guys have seen on the channel. Fowler is just to get that cold bore out of the way, you know, and that's about it. Alright, so let's do, I'm not going to weigh this, I'm not going to weigh it on the beams, this fowler. I'm just going to do 39. There we go. Oh, by the way, these are annealed as well. That's the other thing I did to them. Annealed them. Got them all ready. Good to go. Alright, I had to re-pour the first charge. For some reason, I had to recalibrate the whole Frankfurt Arsenal. For some reason it was 1 grain over. Alright, there's the first one. Re-poured it. See what the balance beam read now. Yeah, it was instead of 40.5, it was 41.5 on the money. Alright, let's pour the next one. I re-poured the Fowler as well, because that one was first.
On this card already. Again, it's like 3 pay-per-view cards in one. Literally from the opening bell, Davison Figueroa gets a big win over Cody Garbrandt, and it just has gone from there. And we've had a number of really pivotal matchups. But maybe the biggest one we've had so far is Kayla Harrison, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist. In the PFL, was a champion there, lost her belt, but came over to the UFC and had to cut with Kayla Harrison.
All right.
For a story I wrote for ESPN.com. Went to her house, went to the gym. There are people who have sort of those LA fitness muscles, you know what I'm talking about, where they're just in the gym and they're ripped. And then there's someone like Kayla, who is essentially...
Alright guys, I'm going to finish pouring all these charges, and I will bring you back for seating these things off with bullet. Alright guys, we got all of them filled with powder. Charges are all weighed up, but I have a problem. Oh man, so we've been shooting the 77 grain SMKs, the last load and this load, and I only had 50 of them apparently. I thought I bought a box of 100, but it was the TMKs I bought 100 on. So I am 3 short, so I'm not quite sure what to do. I can either, what I was going to do is fill the last 3 with a TMK. Same grain, 77 grain TMK. They're an SMK with just a tip. They're just a green tip Match King. But you know they got to be a little bit more different than that. It's a hunting bullet compared to a match bullet. Well, these are a hunting match bullet as well. So, actually, no, the tipped Match Kings, I think, are just match bullets. I thought, yeah, they are just matched. They're not, oh, that's what I'm getting confused. Sierra has another green tipped one that is a hunting. I think it's a Game King or something like that. That's what it is. So either way, so these are match. So I can either split the last group up with 3 77 grain SMKs and 2 77 grain TMKs, and just put 1 for the Fowler as well. That's fine. Or just make the last group a 3-round group. I'm probably just going to make the last one a 3-round group. It kind of sucks because it's going to leave 3 rounds that aren't fire formed for the next shot. So they'll always be out of rotation, but whatever. No, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it a 3-round group, but I'm gonna put the other 2 Game Kings. So I'm gonna shoot the 3 at 1 bullseye, and I'll shoot the other 2 at the same bullseye as these ones. So it technically will be a 5-round group, but we'll know, you know, we'll keep track. We'll make these ones the last 2 I shoot, and we'll keep track, see if they're way off. Actually, it'd be interesting to see if those hit right where those are, and the big difference. That way I don't have any brass, messed up on fire forming and all that. And honestly, I'll probably be moving to the 80 grain SMKs or TMKs after this as well. I'm going to start load development here shortly. I'm probably not going to wait fully for 200 rounds. I'll probably get a little over 100 rounds down the barrel, and then I'll start load development. If it's not looking like it's speeding up, then I'll start load development probably after 100. So I'm going to also mark that down in the book. Last group has 3 SMKs and 2 TMKs. So we'll shoot, like I said, 3 at one bullseye, put the other 2 TMKs with it, but we'll keep track to see where they go, And one fowler is the TMK. Alright, so let's get these bullets seated. Alright guys, let's get these bullets topped off. Checked in all of them for powder. They all have powder in them. I actually double checked. So the way this works. Also guys, like I said, once we fully start load development, I'll be doing a full in-depth reload process for 22 Creedmoor. When I start a cartridge, I usually start off with a couple longer format reloading videos. But I'm trying to get, like I said, I'm trying to get the bullets down the barrel as quick as I can. So I've just been kind of doing some quick reloading videos and then the full shooting videos like I normally do. But so the way Hornady dies work is put a empty case in the shell holder, run the ram all the way up, run the seating die all the way down. Soon as you come to a hard stop, that means the die is hitting the mouth of the case. If you want to crimp, then start adjusting from there, like an 1/8 inch down, screw it down a little bit more if you want crimp. If you don't want to crimp your cases, then back one full turn out and then lock it down. And that's it. So the Hornady dies are pretty easy, as long as you don't want to crimp and seat at the same time, which I usually don't. Alright, so 20 thousandths off the lands is where I test everything at, unless I'm doing a seating depth test. Obviously, then I change the seating depth on a seating depth test. The reason why I do 20 thousandths, if you're new and don't know, it's because I've noticed most bullets shoot the best around 20 thousandths off the lands. That's just been my experience. Now I don't really try jamming in the lands yet. I'm gonna test that theory out eventually. I heard you get the most accuracy out of that, but I haven't bothered with it yet. But I will be testing that out eventually. So I find 20 thousandths off the lands is where bullets shoot the best. So all my powder testing, I just do 20 thousandths off the lands and keep it fair and even. And then I'll do a seating depth test after that to see if 20 thousandths is where that bullet likes to be. So 20 thousandths off the lands on the 77 grain SMKs is at 2.484. Jam is 2.504. So we're shooting for an OAL of 2484. That's not CBTO, so I gotta make sure I get the CBTO. Alright, so let's run this up, see where we're at. Alright, 2.531. 31. Alright, so we're sitting at 2.531. So 2.531 minus 531 minus 2.484. Right? 484, yep. Equals, I need to come off 47 thousandths, so let's do, so 5, 10, whoops, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Let's try 40. $2.494. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 2.486. There's just 2 more thousands. 6, 5, 4. $2.484. 2.484. Alright. I'm going to try one of these in the gun. Make sure it fits. Be right back. Alright, everything fits good. That is one thing I wish this barrel had, is a little bit longer throat. Later on down the road I may get a throating reamer to throat this out a little bit more. I'd like to see it a lot longer, and that's the whole point of, you know, of this cartridge and a lot of these newer cartridges, is to seat the bullet. You know, I still have the fast twist, so I can do heavy bullets, but another benefit of running heavy bullets is to also seat them out long, so you can you know, have bigger case capacity, or you're not taking away case capacity, I guess is what I should say. So that kind of sucks about this barrel. It was a factory, or not factory, it was a SHILEN match barrel from Midway. So I kind of wish, now I don't know if they can tell me what the throat is, dimensions is, anyway is, and that might be why Midway's selling them, is because they're an early 22 Creedmoor barrel, and maybe they're, you know, got real shallow throat. So I'm not quite sure. Either way, I wish the throat was a little bit deeper or longer, but no big deal. That's what a completed round looks like. I wish I could. That's the other shitty thing, is I got an MDT chassis and a mag, and MDT mag, they allow for, you know, they make them purposely so you can seat them out long in their magazine, so you can run them from the mag. Of course, the barrel isn't allowing me. You're usually limited to your mag length, not not your barrel. So in cartridges, most of the time, your mag dictates how, unless you want a single feed, usually dictates how long you can, you know, sit the bullet out there. Not the case in this one. It's the chamber, which kind of sucks, but whatever. So yeah, 1.486. So yeah, I'm gonna get the rest of these all seated, and yeah, we will see you guys out on the range.